everybody. Welcome to our podcast, Functional Yoga Medicine. I love how our broad topic, really encapsulates all the integration principles from psychology, physiology, physical medicine, nutrition, functional medicine, as well as yoga, and really ties it all together. And really, that's what Alkaline Method Academy does, right? It's got the 4 elements, which is inner transformation to the outer manifestation, applying the modern medicine piece to the puzzle, as well as ancient wisdom. And that's collectively a whole program that we offer our practitioners. So, and don't forget, you have to know how to conduct your business around your online as well as brick and mortar, should you want to practice that way. And there has to be certain level of coaching involved in terms of working with your patients as well. And so I love covering all the topics because, you know, within the model of conventional medicine, I was always forced to fit into this model of scope of practice. As a physical therapist, put that hat on. As a nutritionist, put that hat on. And when studying functional medicine, it was sort of like, where do I belong? And then, you know, when I speak of yoga, you can't interchangeably speak as a physical therapist unless you're a yoga therapist. And there's so many different dogmatic ways of looking at it. And within each versions of each discipline, there is so much more subcategories and more dogmatic ways where it's just very limiting. And so this whole concept of trying to fit into a round hole as a square peg, I'm no longer willing to do that anymore. And so I walked away from the physical therapy practice, and I really do what I do through my programs, through my Alkaline Method Academy, as well as serving my autoimmune patients, because I have an autoimmune condition, through my Alkaline Method for autoimmunity programs, as well as to teach yoga teachers how to be proper clinicians in this way to problem solve for the patients that come into their doors, into their yoga class, and then leveling up the practitioners of health, both medical doctors, physical therapists, nutritionists, whatever health degree that you may hold, including psychologists, to understand how all the pieces of the puzzle work together to make you a better clinician to problem solve for our patients. Well, is the ultimate goal, without feeling like you're always walking the boundaries of scope of practice, right? Today, I want to discuss the link between myofascia and psychology. How many times have you felt tense and you had neck pain, you know, in conjunction too? How many times have you had a stressful week and then ended up having low back pain, right? Hip pain, or any other musculoskeletal generalized pain? Well, as an autoimmune patient, I know that there is definitely a trigger and there's a link between the two. And today I want to talk to you guys about myofascial pain syndrome, which is the most common musculoskeletal pain disorder of the head and neck and even the back. And it's what ties the whole body together. And it's very much subject to our psychological state of being. And our psychological state of being is often dismissed because it's not something that's so tangible, right? We don't know that A causes B to create the results. And so we want to make sure, as a yoga teacher, as well as physical therapist and nutritionist and functional medical practitioner, or even a medical doctor, we give the tools to the patients they can easily deploy to make sure that they can alleviate their own pain, as opposed to having an external something get, done to them, right? So I want you to understand that in the past, there's several theories were put forth to explain the origin and nature of myofascia, but none proved to be complete. And myofascial pain responds to changing psychological states, and such as stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, anger, depression, and chronic pain. And who doesn't have that anymore, right? And these are all direct contributing factors to myofascial pain. And myofascial pain syndrome may be considered a psychosomatic disorder. Psychosomatic means psycho, which is our mindful state or emotional state of being, causing a somatic response, which our physical response, okay? And there are numerous accepted treatment approaches and meditation and relaxation techniques to proven to initiate healing at the fundamental level. Okay, it's by changing the state of being to a more calm state where healing can be induced, right? And the connection between the mental factors, the myofascial pain syndrome, and meditation are explored in an article on NCBI, recent article that I read. It's cited here down below. And really recent literature has shed light on the fundamental role of free radicals in the emergence of myofascial pain. And free radicals, are something that we're exposed to every single day, right? And this accumulating free radicals disrupt mitochondrial, which is the energy center of our cells, or mitochondrial integrity and function, leading to sustenance and progression of myofascial syndrome. And really, meditation, on the other hand, was shown to reduce the free radical load and can result in clinical improvement of this myofascial pain simply by being in a state of calm. How is that? How cool is that, right? That just goes to show how powerful our mind is and how much power can be induced from within, as opposed to us as clinicians trying to induce some state of being on the sake of the patient. We have to really be better at igniting or eliciting this internal response within them, so that they can be self-empowered. So we have to be self-empowering clinicians or mentors. Okay, so let's define mindfulness, okay? Because mindfulness is the working principle behind the effect of all meditations. And I really do emphasize that, it can serve as a potential tool to reverse the neurobiological and cellular changes that occur in our myofascial pain syndrome, okay, among other things as well, okay? And as a physical therapist and a registered dietitian, yoga practitioner, and a functional medicine practitioner, many patients are forced to connect the dots themselves by going to all these practitioners to try to solve the complex web of problems in addressing their dysregulated psychosomatic response, when really being in a state of calm and meditative state helps them. And it's simply all about mindfulness. So it's really time to simplify and apply the knowledge into a simple lifestyle application that our patients can use daily to improve their symptoms and get self-empowered to heal. And sometimes the best instrument that we have is something that's not so costly. It's so basic and fundamental that we boohoo it and dismiss it. But in our world today, it's more important now than ever to really facilitate this understanding from inside, because we all have the power to potentially heal our own selves, right? And what a powerful way to look at the healing modality as a whole. Because really, meditation or mindfulness has long been practiced as a method to silence our minds and provide our body and mind with peace and calm by simply shifting the autonomic state from sympathetic drive to parasympathetic. Okay. Remember, sympathetic driven response is more the fight or flight, where paleolithically, it's when humans used to run from saber-toothed tigers, right? Run for our lives. And today it's become a natural state of being because we're constantly crazed by so much alarm bells coming from our smart devices. Not so smart anymore because it's disrupting our physiology in this way, causing our sympathetic response to be on alert all the time. And that drives our stress hormones, and that's not so good. So we want to kind of practice mindfulness and meditation, and people are hungry for silencing their minds because they're always up on the go. to really drive our autonomic nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic, which is more the calm and the zen, right? We know that our modern world today facilitates being busy and constantly are bombarded with information overload. Okay. And information overload causes our brains to buffer and overthink versus apply the concepts to experience the healing effects of what we learn, right? We have to slow down to apply the information coming at us and live the information and experiment with them versus just taking in the information over and over again, and your body just buffers. It's almost like giving your computer too much to do, and your computer starts to like freeze. And that's what happens to our bodies. And in that freeze state, we can't really do anything. And it's not so easy as shut off the button, because even when we do go to sleep, we're constantly awake at night, like looping those thoughts anyway, causing more of those hormones to surge. And this is why so many patients remain stuck in a state of overwhelm. And they may study meditation, but resist meditation. And so it's like a contradiction, and it's not really serving anybody. They may gain the information about the benefits of exercise for a moment, such as yoga, and then they're like, oh, another to-do, I should, I ought, but fail to make the practice part of their everyday regimen, not because they lack motivation, but because they don't know how to get started, because information overload keeps them in this loop of doing nothing. Okay. And there's so much conflicting and vast information. And when our brains are subject to information overload, like I said, it does nothing. Okay. It's like having a gym membership every year at New Year's time, right? We check it off as if we're doing something about it, and we did, but it doesn't translate into transformation unless we actually put the gym to practice, like by actually going and doing the thing, doing the exercise. But the very act and follow through is what we're lacking today in this world. So we want to be the facilitators of that to teach our patients. It's a state of being, first and foremost, before you get into the doing. So it's especially true for us today, post-pandemic. You know the world today. We've lost the ability to plan the future, and it's really threatened our security of the known, right? And security doesn't have to be safe. It's important to note that our brain, safety is predictability, even if it's something that is detrimental to our well-being. We had stability and predictability before pandemic, where everything was going around. But nowadays, because of the lockdown and threats of the, virus and infectiousness of it, we are all scared in our minds of not expecting or not knowing what to expect. Are the schools going to be shut down? Vacations? What about business plans? All those things are directly linked to our livelihood, right? And so many of us are in limbo, and that creates a lot of anxiety. And it's across the board across all age groups. So remember, what's familiar is what our brain registers as safe. And our current state, we're living in an uncertain environment that creates fear, uncertainty, and anxiety in the population at large, like I mentioned. And this is why it's more important than ever before to begin to put the pieces of the puzzle together and empower each other for self-healing methods that we can deploy to protect our health every single day, because we've known the overbombardment in our healthcare system, the education system, the political system. We can't depend on external systems to support us any longer. We have to find out alternate ways to keep our health healthy, because without health, we have nothing, right? And remember, meditation is not something that we actually schedule in our day. And most people think I ought to, and I should learn to meditate, but that's only 5 minutes a day. And like I said, we resist the very thing that we need because we're so busy. And I want you to understand, meditation should really be a state of being. That mindfulness should be something that we empower ourselves with, as well as to empower our patients to center and ground themselves into their own mind and body, to really be one with their sensations, what their physiology is communicating with their brain or trying to tell them. And cultivating the ability to shift perspective and see through the chaos of the world is a way to elevate our consciousness to a new level that defies chaos and conflict down here. An alkaline method allows for seamless integration of, like I mentioned, the 4 elements, which is inner and outer transformation, that enables every individual to tune into their mind and body to promote wellness, longevity, and health, to build resilience physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to optimize their health in their 3D bodies. Because we're much more than 3D, right? We're multidimensional. And we can no longer defend our limitations as practitioners of health by really shrinking down into our dogmatic parts or being dogmatic about our principles or the way we practice. And by this, I mean taking stands in the dogmas of our respective profession that limits our scope, which prevents us from truly making difference in the lives of our patients. Just because bureaucratically, that's how we get paid in the third-party payer system. So it's time to rise up and stand for what we believe by daring to connect the dots and understand that we're much more than our physical faculties that we can tangibly, touch and measure, okay? And there's infinite wisdom and knowledge that guides the principles of life, and it's beyond our human understanding. And there exists an infinite wisdom that is powerful beyond words and conception, and we must begin to honor and respect the power of our healing ability. For example, the topic between myofascia and psychology, we know that myofascia gets really tight when we are anxious and we have all the information overload. And so we know that meditative state of being or mindfulness state of being, where we can empty and silence our mind simply by breathing techniques, might be so much better than having the patient come to you where you have to touch them or prescribe this or that medication. And then we have to wait for them to really apply those things. And it takes time, right? But imagine if we teach our patients to immediately be able to take the edge off of their myofascial pain syndrome simply by being mindful of their breath, releasing that tension, shifting their perspective from a highly stressful situation to a very, very calm and zen state of being simply by drawing attention to their breath. That is a way to be a very powerful state of being so that you can really be, you can really be powerfully engaged with your body to support it. And that's what AMCP aims to do, or Alkaline Method Academy aims to do, to educate, empower, elevate, and expand the consciousness of the practitioner, you, to empower as many people as possible to step into their own power and live their best lives. It's not about you being good so much as it is about collaborating with your patients and your clients to be better together, to really understand the power we all have to elicit this inner healing wisdom from within. Because that's when people start to heal from the inside. And really, that provides longevity and health. And by you tapping into one patient at a time, you make generations of changes in our sick-care system to provide this environment of self-empowered healing where we can cultivate self-understanding and self-love and self-respect all over again. Because this world needs more than ever self-healing right now. So if you want to learn more, please click the link below. We do have the article that I did refer to or today for our topic of myofascial pain and its prevalence and its psychology, right? And the link to its psychology. All that's there. I would love for you to join the conversation. I really want to start out 2022 really redefining healthcare and really being the change and shifting perspective of as many of you as possible. So join me. I'm going to be doing a free training in April or in March, end of March. So please click the link below to sign up for that, to get on that list. And I thank you so much for joining me today. Subscribe. You can find me at Dr. Connie Chung, as well as my podcast, Functional Yoga Medicine. Instagram handle is Dr. Connie Chung, and YouTube, Dr. Connie Chung. Thanks so much, you guys, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye for now.